This is a D&D class where if you roll above a 10, then you summon a monkey. And if you roll below a 10, you summon a peanut butter cup.
Butterscotch.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 62 of Coffee with Butterscotch, the game dev comedy podcast of Butterscotch Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm Seth, and I'm the games programmer.
I'm Adam, and I'm the webs programmer.
I'm Sam, and I don't program things, but I make art.
I'm Carol, and I send a whole lot of emails.
And today is August 30th, 2016.
It is.
Yeah, the last 15 days of August, I don't know where they went. And
It has been a
also,
blur.
we have a warning. Anything can happen on this show. There's going to be profanity, so if you don't like hearing bad words, get out of here.
Yeah, because we don't have any good words.
Nope. Just pure badness. Baditude. And yeah, you had the warning. You had moments to get out. So don't hold it against us. We're going to PAX this week, buddy. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What is PAX? Carol's spearheading the charge of death into PAX.
With just the spear, we're just driving it straight into the expo, and we're just going to
Plunge it into the heart.
punch it in the heart of our table.
Yeah.
It'll be a
And-
little anticlimactic at that point.
Yeah,
but it'll be
it's
pretty
not
good.
going to really bleed so much as there might be
Splinters.
a couple of splinters.
Very
What if
dangerous.
it- Now, have we checked
Oh,
with
that's for
the TSA that we're going to be able to get our spear to PAX?
Well,
And
it's
also
collapsible.
our blood table.
And our
It's-
blood table?
Yeah, well, the blood table is provided by the expo.
Okay, perfect.
They gave us the option between a standard table and a blood table.
Table
We
that
did
bleeds when
opt-
you stab it.
We did opt for the one with a soul. Yeah,
Yeah.
the one that
Oh,
is
we got
possibly
the upgrade.
sentient.
We got the sentient table.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's
Oh, wow.
the people in the PAX 10. They get the table that has feelings, and so and has a family and children. So when it gets stabbed by your spear,
You're gonna
you
feel
really you feel it. It's sad.
Well,
Yeah,
you don't
you're-
as much as it does, but it depends on your level of empathy for other living things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're asked to occasionally wipe it down with a Lysol wipe because otherwise it might die a horrible, horrible death of some sort of plague.
Yeah, and also you have to just clean its tears
Yeah.
because it's just crying the whole time.
It's a very wet table.
I got touched by a furry. But yeah, so the PAX is the Penny Arcade Expo. It's in Seattle. It is going to be from the 2nd to the 5th. It's 4 days long, and we were an official selection for the PAX 10, which is a curated group of games that the people behind PAX have decided these are the best games this year, and we're
And
going
you know
to show
what?
them off.
They're right.
Pretty much
Yeah.
100%
They are.
correct.
Nailed it.
The other
Great
PAX
taste.
10 folks have been awesome. We've been reaching out to them to include them as Easter eggs in our demos because we have a press demo for Crashlands creator stuff, and then we have a public-facing demo just to show people the game. And we're wanting to kind of get the other PAX 10 folks involved and
Get our dev buddies in there.
get our dev buddies in there so that we can give some kind nods to the other folks who will be
Dev buddies.
dev buddies. Take a look at our game.
Yeah, when you join the Dev Buddies
90s
team,
commercial.
you get to have a theme song. It's pretty good.
You get a spandex suit that if you get hit, it
It
shoots
shoots
sparks.
Sparks, yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah. And you also, but it is annoying because you constantly get assaulted by just an army of really dumb minions that you have to punch a lot. But, what are you
What
going
are
to
they
do?
called? Putties?
I think they're called
What about Power
trolls.
Rangers, by the way? In case anyone's not getting all the references. They were putties, weren't they?
Yeah, and you gotta kick them in the chest sternum or something.
Yeah.
And
And
then
they-
they just explode.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Which I gotta say, if you're gonna have an army of minions, don't put a bomb on their chest that if you kick them, they explode.
Yep.
I feel like that happens in a lot of bad sci-fi where there's
Yeah.
always, there's a Doctor Who race where there's just a thing on the back of their neck. They're like warlord things. I don't even remember what they're called.
Oh yeah, I
Somebody's
know the potato looking.
the potato
folks.
dudes. And you just slap them on the back of their neck and they fall
Yeah,
over.
because they have they wear like a spacesuit thing, and there's a little valve on the back.
So instead of an Achilles heel, they have a potato's neck.
Potato neck. They have this weak point.
The
potato's neck.
You shove their
Or the putty's sternum.
Yeah.
Achilles heel. Yeah. It's good. We'll start using it interchangeably. It's
Yeah.
going to get
The
weird.
putty neck.
Potato
Wait, no,
neck.
putty chest.
Putty
chest.
The putty
Potato
chest, potato neck.
Okay, wait. Is it the case though that putties are actually just bombs that have been brought to life?
Ooh.
And so,
So all
it's
you're
really
doing-
the only thing that could possibly happen.
And the
when they
Power
die
Rangers
is
don't
if they
even know
explode.
it, but they're actually enacting the evil plan by exploding all the putties in
Yeah.
highly populated areas.
Yeah.
I know you guys are thinking about the origin of putties, but I'm just switching out like a thesaurus, the idea of a weakness for a potato neck. Thinking about like a New York.
Potato neck just sounds like a really rough insult.
I just want to think. I just want to think like
Your neck's got eyes on it.
the New York Times running a piece and they're like the real potato neck of the financial market. You know? Oh man.
we gotta make this a thing. Can we make this a thing?
Let's potato neck it.
All right,
Potato
we're
neck it.
putting this out of the universe. Now it's up to
Hashtag
it's up
potato
to
neck.
our listeners.
Don't be potato necky about doing it though.
Yeah. Wait, is that a thing?
That's weak.
Achilles
Right? Like,
Healy.
Achilles
Achilles Healy.
Achilles heelys.
He's wearing, he wears the
The
little
Heelys.
Heelys, you know, with the wheels.
Yeah.
That's so appropriate.
Achilles wheelies.
Instead of the wings, he has. No, wait, that's
Achilles
Hermes.
doesn't have wings. That's Hermes.
Wait, there's a harm.
There's
Hermes-
Mercury,
but
and
Hermes wheelies-
Hermes could wear Heelys.
Hermes
wears
Heelys would be good too.
Hermes
He also,
Heelys.
if it was a helicopter based thing, it could be Hermes Heli Heelys.
Or Helio Heelys, because there was a lot of Heliopolis stuff going on back then.
Hey guys, I have some news.
What's your point, Seth? We're trying to say really
We're
weird
starting a
stuff.
new business over here.
Of making catchphrases.
potato
Shoe business.
hashtag
Oh, a shoe
potato neck.
business. Hashtag potato neck. We rely on our listeners to spread this kind of information. So without them, we are nothing. You
Tell
can
us
say
about-
that they're our potato neck.
Yeah, that's true. Tell us about the greatest hashtag potato neck that you see in the industries around you.
Yeah.
Maybe games industry.
And also, we have controller support now available for Crashlands.
That was an excellent segue.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a really
Our
swift,
segues, you could
smooth-
say, are our potato neck.
So yeah, controller support alpha. Congratulations for finally getting
For
that.
getting almost finished.
It's
To a
Butterscotch
playable.
ID is not hooked up to it yet, so you can't, do all the fancy
But how
logging
close
stuff.
is it?
It's about halfway now. So
Sounds decent.
yeah, but the cool thing is we're gonna have controller support for Crashlands coming to Android pretty soon. So once we get it all hooked up to everything, then it's considered in beta, and then we're gonna branch it out into all the different platforms and start getting some feedback on it. So we have some info on the blog
Yes.
in a blog post in the weekly update.
Yeah, we had our last weekly update was number 5 or 6. 5. We talked about the controller support process. So you go into your Steam and follow those directions, and you can get access.
Yeah.
Woo!
And we've had reports from players that it is very buttery and smooth and awesome.
It is. It's
So
very good.
that's directly from the horse's mouth on that one.
The potato neck.
Now, Carol,
Yeah.
tell us a story.
I got a story. For those of you who don't know, I am a card game designer and own a handful of copies of my own game. And I had them, it's called Pass the Buck, a game of corporate responsibility management, by the way.
It's a
So
great
I
game.
had them
It's a
all
great
up on Amazon.
I was about to say you can find it on Amazon.
You can find it on Amazon.
Oh, you still can?
You still can.
Oh, okay.
You still can, but just way fewer copies. So I had originally used Amazon as my warehousing thing and decided that was a terrible idea because I was selling really technically 0 copies in comparison to how
Well, if you're
many
gonna be
I had.
technical about it.
Yeah. So I decided to recall like 700 copies of the game. No big deal. But I don't have a place to send them except for my house. So I got 700 copies of my card game sent to my house. That's like 300 pounds of card games.
How much volume of card games?
It's not that much. Like it fits in my coat closet,
Oh,
but
cool.
it's still very heavy and very anxiety inducing. So I got the word that I was getting a freight shipment last weekend, and they were like, "We're gonna bring it by on Monday," and I'm like, "I have a job." They're like, "Oh, it's okay. We'll just bring it, on Monday." So I had to
No problem. Don't care.
I had to leave work early, as you guys know. And so I get home and I'm like having this anxiety panic attack because there's going to be this giant semi truck dropping off a huge freight delivery at my apartment. And I don't really actually know how big it's going to be. I know that it's 5 huge boxes. But anyway, so I'm like panicking and looking out the window every time I hear a bus go by. I'm like, I haven't been this nervous about school buses since I was 10 years old. I'm just like,
Is there a story there?
no, just, elementary school.
Just horrible bus
Just
things.
horrible bus things. And so at like, they told me that they were going to be there between 3 and 6. And so from 3 o'clock, I'm like nervously staring out my window. I can't pay attention to anything else. And finally, I hear a truck go past, and I look out the window and I see, and it's just a construction truck that says the words, "Big Boys Steel Erection." And I felt like I just got rickrolled.
It's like a sitcom
And so I
moment.
sat there for another 45 minutes just feeling bad about myself until finally the biggest semi-truck that I'd ever seen in my life comes pulling up my street. And so I go outside to meet it because clearly that's it. And it can't, I live on a one-way street with cars parked on both sides.
I don't know
It
how
can
a semi got
barely
in
navigate.
there.
No, I had no idea. He was hitting trees and like there were branches falling.
It
and
was
I was
dragging
like,
power lines behind it.
yeah, basically. He's like, it's no big deal. I do this all the time. And so I get back there and he does like the whole lifts up the back of the truck and there's the raisy elevator thing and he gets his big pallet mover out and he goes and gets my stuff and it's literally like 5 1-foot by 1-foot boxes taped to a giant skid. And I was just like, this is it. Like they couldn't just FedEx me this.
So
He's
it
like,
was on a
"Man,
pallet though, like they brought it.
it was
up?
on a pallet. And so he like scooted it up my driveway. Unfortunately, my neighbor came home right when that was happening. And so he helped me bring this stuff up to my apartment. But it was like each box was like 30, 40 pounds maybe.
Right.
And we just carried them up the stairs and I just put them in my coat closet. I was like, I had anxiety for 4 days over these dumb boxes.
Did you just think that it was just going to be just like these massive?
I did.
Yeah.
I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to lift them. I was afraid that the truck wasn't going to be able to make it into the street, which, honestly, he barely did. But it was so much, so much work over something that I feel like Amazon could have easily FedExed or UPS'd or whatever and just had out of the way, not had to deal with scheduling. It was just
Did the driver
hilarious.
seem disoriented by this fact, or was it just a matter of course for him?
It was,
just
yeah.
like, I deliver.
He's probably seen some weird
I
stuff.
deliver 6-inch by 6-inch boxes with my semi truck all the time.
He was
It's on a daily
jovial
basis.
about it. He was just like, what's in these? It was like card games. He's like, what? Okay. But yeah, that's my freight story.
Are you glad it's over?
I'm
You
glad.
feeling-
Well, it's not over yet. That was only one of the freight shipments.
Oh, they're gonna do it again.
There's another one coming. Yeah.
When does that come?
I don't know.
Is
So
there like,
they even broke it up across 2 shipments?
What? Yeah. Well, because there were 3 different fulfillment centers that had my games. And so when I
so
ordered the
each
recall,
Each one dispatches a semi.
one
Was
of
there
them
anything else in the semi besides your little
nope, it was just the little boxes in the middle.
it was largely empty because I was at the end of the run.
because that was the only thing
it
said.
was the only
It
thing.
was a special trip.
Yeah.
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 Turns out people just don't recall their stuff, So
Yeah.
you're the only person.
And this is why shipping through Amazon is so expensive. No, I'm just kidding. This doesn't
it's
make any
basically.
sense. How does this business model work?
It's because they have infinite robots in their warehouses
Ah.
to compensate for the fact that they use a semi truck to deliver a single package.
Just wait until we get those driverless semis. Then you have a semi pulling up to give you like a Hallmark card from your grandma.
It's just a robot.
It's like
Yeah.
iRobot.
But they don't. But it'll just like instead of opening on the back, it'll just open up on the side, and there'll be just a little pneumatic piston that'll just like kick your package out onto the curb and then drive away.
That'd be awesome.
That's what it would sound like.
That's what it'll sound like. All right, let's get to some. Let's get to some questions.
Did we,
Okay.
did we talk about everything?
Yeah, we got a pretty light news week because we are all really disoriented about the fact that we're about to leave for 5 days for PAX. So
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happened.
I don't know.
Did we talk about all the PAX related things we need to talk about?
I think
we have a
so.
meetup, right? Did we talk about that?
Oh yeah, we have a meetup. It's finally on Facebook. So we're on Thursday night after we get set up at the convention center. We're going to the Starbucks roastery from 8 to 10 or whatever.
It's
and
pronounced
we're just-
Woastery.
Woastery. We're going to the Starbucks roastery. With our friend Homestall. And we're going to just be hanging out there, drinking coffee, chatting about the week. And we want any of our friends and fans and players who are, pardon me, in Seattle.
Choke a little bit.
I just got so emotional that I just
see everybody.
choked on my own spit. Any of our friends and fans who are in Seattle, we want them to come meet
visit.
us, and we can hang out and give you pins
And roast coffee together.
Roast coffee together.
And otherwise, if you are going to PAX, we will have more pins and things.
Yeah.
They
Buttons,
can come, just come to the booth, play some
butt pins.
Crashlands, butt pins. You get a pin, right?
Any
in your
pin
butt.
is a butt pin if you try hard enough.
And Andy has crafted a touch screen arcade cabinet. What do we want to call it?
It's a wedge.
It's a wedge.
It's a touch wedge arcade screen.
Yeah. So we
Whoa, touch wedge.
we put Andy to the task of sort of escalating our booth game by making some kind of cool apparatus that we could mount our tablets in or our screens in for people to play our games. And so we started with making traditionally shaped arcade cabinets, but it turned out that doesn't work really for a touch screen.
But it doesn't work well from a player standpoint. It looks
It looks
dope as
slick.
fuck.
but it doesn't work for a player to actually sit there and rest their hands on, and also the angle can be really weird. So
Yeah, because of like a vertical touch screen floating in front of you, a foot off the table.
yeah, you want to hold your arms up? Come on,
Yeah, nobody's that kind of stamina.
for 5 minutes? No way. So we ended up with just a simplified design of just a wedge. But we spray painted them black, and I got some camouflage black paint from
How does
Home
that?
Depot.
Wait,
What is that?
Is that
The
what that
idea,
is?
That's what that is. The idea is that it's supposed to be used for camo patterns and stuff, and so it's so matte that it just absorbs.
Does it absorb radar?
Probably does. I mean, it looks like it
You
does.
probably
frankly.
couldn't detect these wedges on radar.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah,
stro-
so
I'm
if you wanna-
stroking it right now.
So if you want to come stroke our wedges, come on over to our booth. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's all the
Good.
back stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some questions.
Okay. So questions come from podcast.basecotch.net. You can go there and ask them. Also, you can vote on them there. You can use it.
You can vote on them, but we don't care about that.
Yeah.
yeah,
We
just do
ignore
whatever
the
we want.
votes, but feel free to vote anyway.
So first
Your
question.
vote doesn't matter.
Just like in real life.
I was gonna say it, but decided not
But
to.
Yeah, you got to get out and vote in November. Come on, guys. Come on. Democracy
Your
in
vote
action.
matters.
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay, first question comes from Adamus or Adamus, who asks, in episode 39, I think, you talked about Crashlands players having walked to the moon and back 6 times. This is true. So this would have been, 25 episodes ago? A couple weeks? Or how many months?
Basically half a year.
About 6 months ago, yeah.
And now you're walking to the moon and back.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
So good.
Is that a song that you
The
just
Savage
made up?
Garden.
Oh.
Now you're flying to the moon and back. You'll be
I only listen
Nope.
to
Never mind.
Salvage Garden.
salvage.
Yeah, they're better.
Oh. I'm just gonna not sing anymore. It's
That was
fine.
great singing, though. Okay,
It was
question
good
is,
singing.
but he said they hadn't reached Mars yet. Have we reached Mars? So Adam had pulled up some statistics on this to see exactly how far Crashlands players have walked and if we've gotten to Mars yet.
How
The
many Mars
answer-
did we get?
The answer is we haven't gotten there, but we've gotten 1/6 of the way there.
Sixth.
I was kind of expecting that we were only going to be maybe like 1%.
Yeah,
It's
because
a really
Mars
far.
is really far away.
So players have walked 9 million kilometers.
And Mars at its closest point, if we're assuming that we're being intelligent about this, and trying to hit Mars when it's closest to us, then Mars is 54 million kilometers away.
Wait.
Wow.
So players have walked 9 billion meters in Crashlands.
Yeah.
That's a fuckload of meters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meters. They have also died 5.6 million times, I
Yeah.
believe.
But this is just Butterscotch ID, people. This is important to know.
players.
Right?
This is just people we're tracking stats on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. You have died more times than there are people in 30 United States states.
Yeah. So if we took all those dead fluxes and piled them up in a pile, it would be
And
a
gave
pretty
them
good
voting
sized
rights.
state. And let
Yeah.
and give them Senate seats and stuff like that.
We could build a nation of corpses.
Yeah. We are. We kind of are.
That's so dark.
This is political.
Yeah, I guess the interesting thing is if when you got to the end of Crashlands, we popped up a screen like we do in Flop Rocket where it counts how many hero deaths there were. If we did it for the community, I mean, even if you were doing one every second or more than that, 4 every second or something, it's 5.6 million deaths. You'd be sitting there for a good long while.
It increments by what? I guess 60 per second.
Sure.
It would take a while to get up to 5 million.
Yeah.
What about bombs? We have some stat here about bombs.
Oh, there were a bunch of them.
I have here that people
Still
have
political.
the people have thrown 14.6 million bombs in Crashlands.
Yeah. We were trying to figure
What does
out
that
if that was a
mean?
nuclear bomb or not, but it turns out that bomb math is a little hard.
It's iffy.
Most
a
of them
little
use
complicated.
TNT as the base because
Yeah.
TNT is roughly 1 megajoule. That's what I learned in Wikipedia this morning. About
Which
six
isn't
minutes.
that helpful because you just used one incomprehensible unit and replaced it with another.
What's a megajoule, and how do I get one and put
What
it
can
on
you
a ring?
blow up with a megajoule? I think that's the metric that needs to be used. Because people say, oh, like you could take the energy in this thing and boil an Olympic-sized swimming pool,
Right.
right? Like that's still an incomprehensible thing. But
Why would you boil a pool?
Why would you boil
That's
that?
silly. That's
Yeah.
Maybe to disinfect it,
or to
something,
make
but-
stew.
to make a swimmer stew.
stew.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
There's
We
been
could
lots of explosions.
Let's say we could blow up a lot of pumpkins
Yeah.
Yeah.
with that.
Easily
Definitely.
14 million
easily
pumpkins.
14 million pumpkins.
We can blow them up real good.
That's got to
Yep.
be worth something.
Yep.
At the end of the day. All right. Next question comes from Frog Ninja, who asks, "What's your favorite fantasy race?" I'm gonna append the Y, of course. His is the orc, but that begs a lot of
From
questions.
Wait,
what
what
universe?
What Y did you append? The letter Y or the word Y?
The word Y.
Okay.
What's your favorite fantasy racy?
It's real racy.
It's real racy up in here. So what do you guys got? What's your favorite fantasy race? You need to clarify a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
so
just saying orc.
If we're talking like Lord of the Rings, a Lord of the Rings orc is very different from like a Warcraft orc or a
Mhm.
Warhammer orc, right? Because Warhammer orcs are made of mushrooms
Those are my favorite ones.
and they have no gender and they're made of mushrooms and they just kill everything.
They're made of mushrooms?
They're
Yeah,
fungus.
they're a fungus.
They're a fungus.
What?
They have spores. And that's how they make more
But their spores only come out when they're in like bloodlust from fighting.
from
things.
murdering things.
It sounds a little bit like you're making this all up.
No,
No.
this is-
It's true.
I mean, somebody else made it up, I guess, but
yeah, because then in J.R.R. Tolkien universe, orcs are just kind of like
Made of dirt.
yeah, and they're just kind of like mindless monsters that get controlled by the thing.
So why do you get to call them both orcs?
It's a
If like
good
one is
question.
mushrooms and
Well,
one
to
is
be
dirt.
fair, in the Warhammer universe, it's ORK.
Yeah,
Right.
that differentiation.
Yeah.
Wow.
So okay, so
in
I
Lord
can,
of the
I can
Rings,
make
So it's
They're
totally different.
orcai in Lord of the Rings.
Urukai.
Urukai.
Okay.
Not to be confused with orcas, which are real
Which are just
predators,
whales.
alpha predators in the ocean.
And they eat some of the most adorable animals in the entire ocean.
Yep.
Seals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ugh,
Just en masse.
Killer
Like 30
whales.
a day.
The Blue Planet was the most depressing film I've ever seen in my life.
Was that the one where they showed them throwing a seal off an ice chunk?
They're like, yeah, they're hardcore attacking those poor baby seals.
Yeah. The seal's like, I get up on this big chunk of ice and he's feeling all safe. And then the orcas look at him, like they pop out and they're like, we're coming. We're coming back. And then they push a huge wave that knocks the baby seal off of the ice chunk.
And just eat it.
And they eat it.
There's
How are you
just
supposed to fight something like that?
trails of blood.
Like, what are you going to do?
That's exactly you don't.
It's like fighting
Unless
a
you're
human.
a person.
Yeah. In which case you turn them into oil.
That's how we fight. That's how we fight nature. Actually, it's true. We just turn it all into oil.
Turn it on to oil.
and then we burn it
make phones out of it
and
instead.
poison the air.
This is a new orca phone.
All right. So anyway, fantasy race.
Yeah, what you got?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably like the mermaid or something cheesy like that because I
Ooh.
want to be able to swim underwater infinitely.
Are you talking
you-
like sirens though? Because they usually
Yes.
are freaky and like murder everything.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be the pretty ones.
I was gonna say, what kind of mermaid? Because a mermaid is half human, half fish.
That's
The
about
fish on the front, human on the back.
Okay, yeah. 'cause I was gonna say 'cause there's
Wait,
also
like
the
dorsal.
vertimaid.
You mean like the
vertimaid.
back
Yeah.
or bottom half?
Both.
Yeah, because Dimitri Martin talks about the vertimaid, which is you're vertically split. So your right half is a fish and your left half is a human.
Yeah. As long as I could breathe underwater, like that's the species that I project myself onto.
Mm.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to fight orcas.
Yeah.
I would murder them. I would protect the seals
Turn
with
them into
all
oil.
of my
You'd be kind of
being.
like the Batman of the sea.
Yeah.
And you just go around and punch orcas
Yeah.
wearing a cape and stuff.
And use high tech gadgets.
Yeah. And
Like-
try to talk like you've been smoking for 40 years.
Underwater Professor Gadget.
Professor Gadget.
Inspector
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 Gadget. I was like, oh my God, is this something I don't know?
This is gonna be like a running joke. I make the stupidest comments every
I
week.
pledge the fourth.
I pledge the allegiance to the Fourth Amendment.
I'm a fan of the Warcraft goblins. I think they've got some.
Oh, they're good. Yeah.
They got some good sass. And I think that like lore wise, they're super dumb, and they got put to work in these mines by like much bigger races. And they were exposed to this certain like magic mineral deep in the earth that made them super smart. And so, but they have to keep consuming it and be around it all the time in order to continue to be smart. Yeah.
Interesting.
But they gained a lot of intellect, but they didn't gain any other kinds of smarts. So they blow themselves up just constantly, and they have no concept of risk aversion and stuff. And then they just hoard money all the time, which is fantastic.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. They're saucy.
But you
I think mine would be the artificial intelligence, I guess beings, whatever, robots in the Culture series by Ian M. Banks, however you say the guy's name.
just started reading that.
Yeah, the AIs that he has. So they're effectively all powerful gods, basically in this universe that he's made. They just kind of like people because people originally created them, long ago. And
So they just keep them around for fun.
Well, actually, so basically, it's for humans live in a complete utopia, sort of managed by these AIs, which themselves are now off just doing their own things, basically trying to turn the entire universe into part of their own society, right? So they're like off having wars and doing all kinds of stuff, actually, while most of humans are just kind of like living and just having a good time.
Sounds sweet.
Yeah.
It's a
How
really
do we get
cool
this
it's a really cool universe anyway. But these robots are awesome because he sets it up so that they are just so smart, but also in ways that people can't even comprehend. That just like a piece of one of the one's minds would be like just talking to people, chatting about stuff while it's off, running a war somewhere else, and he,
Parallel processing.
yeah, exactly. He sets it up in
Yeah.
its way that's really really fun and interesting. So
Don't they have
That's my
weird
favorite.
names?
they get to name themselves, and so it's one of those private rocket millionaire guys who's making
Musk,
spaceships.
Elon Musk.
One of the two who named one of their rockets in the same way that actually after one of the Culture series ships.
Is there an example? Like, what do they?
I'm trying to remember.
Isn't it like they have weird phrases and stuff?
Yeah, one of them was like read the manual or something like
Yeah.
that. I had to Google some, but they get to name themselves just kind of goofy stuff. So they're pretty fun. But
Yeah, I've heard good things about this. I want to read this.
it's real
series.
good.
What do you got, Sam?
I personally really like. I mean, just choosing from the usual set, like the usual fantasy tropey set.
Yeah, I wanted to avoid the usual set because kind of tiresome.
It's all over the place. But I think it's true that there's tons of variation within it.
Yeah,
Because when someone
absolutely.
says an orc, they really mean one of many bajillion. It's kind of like our talk about vampires. What happens if vampire
Vampires
becomes a
and
werewolf?
zombies, yeah.
We couldn't answer the question. Or vampire
Yeah.
and zombie, because we couldn't answer the question because it's like, which one are we talking about? What breed?
And
Yeah,
somebody in
what
one of the
species?
comments pointed out that in the I Am Legend book, zombies and vampires are basically the same thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of variation.
Yeah. So I think just pulling from things that are known. I really liked the dwarves from the Dragon Age series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
What's their thing?
their whole it's similar to goblins in a sense. So they can't use magic. So they're not connected to the Fade, which is the magic system world in the case of Dragon Age. They don't dream, basically is the idea. And they have a caste system, which is really intense and weird. But one of my favorite things about it was they had I can't remember what they call them now, the dead caste, where so essentially if you're like a noble and you've done something terrible, or if you're just a beggar or something and you want to sort of make something for yourselves, then they actually do a funeral rite for you. And you essentially become dead, and you join this dead caste that then goes into the depths of the ground and sort of fights these orc-like creatures as a sort of last bastion for the dwarfs and the surface world too. And so that was one of my favorite things about their society seemed the most fleshed out of all the ones that they had done in that particular universe. I loved it a lot. It's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I always played as a dwarf in those games, but I never actually learned anything about them.
They're all about shaping stone and stuff. and
Yeah, I
then-
remember that. And I remember they can't be magic.
Yeah.
But that's all I remembered.
What a horrible life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
I wonder
mermaids.
what that would be like.
They're
No
drunk
mermaids
most of the
there.
time.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So they don't notice.
Maybe they drink instead of dreaming. That's the strategy. I guess.
Yep.
That's how I spend my weekends.
All right, this is just a thing we should just wrap up, I guess, to make sure no one thinks this is a thing. But Adamus asks, I saw Seth had played Entropy. So if you don't know, if you're friends with us on Butterscotch ID and you're one of the devs, you might see us playing a game that doesn't actually exist yet, which is probably what happened here. So
And maybe never.
maybe never. So Seth, what's Entropy, and is it codename Brunch?
Entropy is not codename Brunch. Entropy is a puzzle game that I made
Long time
last
ago.
summer, I think.
Yeah.
Or even 2 summers ago.
It
It was a
was in-
while
it was in
back.
May.
Is that right?
It was one point while Sam was trapped in the hospital and undergoing all kinds of horrible
I think it's when I was fevering and basically dead for 4 days.
Yeah. And Adam and I were kind of like flailing around trying to concentrate on getting Crashland stuff done, but it was very difficult.
Why? I don't understand why it'd be so hard to focus.
And so we're like,
I mean, Carol had freight come the other day, and it's hard to focus when you got a
that's
semi
true.
truck barreling
There's
down the street.
lots of big life traumas
Yeah.
that make it hard to focus.
Definitely paralleled.
Yeah, it's basically the same. And so we just kind of jammed out this little puzzle game while you were in the hospital, and then that's about it. It's sort of like I want to say it has a vibe of something like Threes, where you combine like numbers or like tiles to make a new one, but with different movement mechanics. So instead of like sliding the entire board around, you move individual pieces and then random ones replace them and stuff.
And it has multiplayer.
It does have multiplayer as an experiment, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's actually I've put probably like 50 hours of gameplay into it because I find it to be a pretty satisfying mechanic. But something about puzzles in general makes me not want to launch them as a studio.
I don't know. They seem so. I guess because they don't have a lot of.
I mean that kind of a puzzle,
right?
Where it's just like the whole point of the game is just like a sort of mini game puzzle thing. It feels like a very forgettable kind of experience, you know.
Philip, the coffee machine is screaming.
Yeah.
But why? So why is that? I mean, a lot of studios release puzzle games that are similar to that. Why is it that you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with those kinds of games. But the way I see it is like those kinds of games fall into the category of what people would think of as a time waster, where you're like, I'm sitting here for 3 minutes. I'm bored and I'm just going to fire up this game to fill my time, right?
The filler game, as they call it.
And you're not really looking for like hearing a cool story or having anything like super memorable or interesting happen.
Or
it's
getting
just kind
immersed
of like,
in an experience.
Yeah, you just want something mindless to fill the time, and that's kind of what it is. And I don't know, I'm not really super down on the idea of putting that out there for some reason. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's fair. I think. I think it always just comes down to what the goals are, right? Because if it is the case that you want to tell stories or have some goofy takeaway from stuff, would you? I mean, even Flop Rocket, which is it's a frankly very simple game, as far as mechanically and stuff. But it's got at least a little bit of a narrative piece in there that people can feel stuff, and then the ending scene when you actually get into space can be a very powerful moment for people. So I think that's the thing to me that I've never been attracted to puzzle games for, is actually because they lack to me oftentimes that switch into like a powerful moment where something cool has happened, which I think why Portal, which is a puzzle game, is so good, because they actually build those in. But there's the question of how would you build, so in the case of Threes or something like Entropy, how would you build in one of those moments where you have an understanding of something, or there's
I like You Must Build a Boat as an example of
Yeah.
sort of attaching narrative to a sort of more like mobile style puzzle game. Yeah, where you have,
I love that game.
Yeah, it's a sliding puzzle, and it's actually, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's unremarkable in its puzzleness.
Correct.
It's very similar to a lot of things that are already out there, if not identical to some of them. But they just bootstrap this kind of little dungeon crawler thing on the top, and then whatever things you match, your character will perform that action. And so you have to try to match specific things,
like
instead
swords and magic.
Yeah, instead of matching just anything. And then you also have, the traditional RPG loops. So by doing all the stuff, you gain rewards and you can upgrade your weapons and stuff like that. So they did a pretty good job of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I would only want to put out a puzzle game if we could do that sort of a thing, where we make the puzzle part of a story.
Yeah, or even part of something bigger. I mean, you look at games like Battle Chef Brigade or The Witness.
Yeah.
And those
exactly.
those have those same kinds of puzzle
Right, yeah.
elements integrated into a much larger gameplay experience.
Yeah. When I think about a game that's just the puzzle with nothing else and no narrative flair, no characters, and nothing memorable other than just like sliding things around or whatever. I don't know. It just seems like I hate to use a term, but it just feels forgettable. Like it's not going to impact you personally in any way. You're just going to do it.
Why was it that you guys actually put Butterscotch ID into that thing? Was it just to do the multiplayer?
We wanted to,
because people can see us playing it whenever we play it, right?
Yeah.
Still,
we wanted to test out asynchronous multiplayer ideas.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we got it working.
Yeah. Well, there's no way to win. So you
Yeah.
you could play
Forgot
against each
that
other,
part.
but games just go on, and there's no way to there's no win condition, because we actually hadn't decided what the win condition would even
So
be.
it truly is an entropic experience.
Yeah.
Where things just trend toward
Things trend toward chaos. and then-
meaninglessness. forever.
Yep.
This is such a
Yeah, it's really powerful, guys.
such a dark episode.
All right, next question comes from Racing for the Finish. What if you woke up married to a pineapple? It's an ugly pineapple, but you love it. So I first want to ask the question, how you distinguish between a beautiful and an ugly pineapple?
I'm more concerned about how you wake up knowing that you're married to it. Like, do you also have the marriage license next to you?
Yeah,
or like,
let's
what's
say
the, is there a
woke
ring
up-
on it?
It's like it's a Las Vegas scenario. Wake up, you got a ring. Pineapple's got a ring on its. I don't even know how you get a ring on that.
On its
Maybe one
neck?
of its fronds.
Yeah, one of its fronds got a ring. Like
It's a nice ring, though. I mean, it's tasteful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Princess cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of.
It's very nice. And then you got your marriage license sitting there
framed.
framed. So now
You're cuddling with it.
you've married a pineapple in Las Vegas. It is legal.
It's 2020. Anything's legal.
Anything
I think
as
you'd-
they warned
I
us.
think you'd have to really just make the most of it because pineapple it's got a short shelf life, and you just have to
you gotta be there for that
you
pineapple.
got to be there for in its last days, which are all of its days.
Man, we're just trending so dark. Is it because of PAX? Is
It's the impending.
everyone's just freaking out?
Yeah, I'm just imagining a montage where you're on a roller coaster with the pineapple and you're hang gliding and you're like going on a cruise.
And it starts, and then it starts looking a little more.
and then like a leaf falls off and then like a tear. You see the tear goes.
You knock on it, and it's getting riper and riper as the days pass.
And then I guess you eat it eventually.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to move on, try to see if we can get into some lighter territory. So this is from Angry Muffin, who asks, how many unique keyboards are planned for Codename Brunch? Which really just think about the next game, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this is a joke about last week when we revealed that we had 3 separate unique keyboards already existing in Crashlands. But I'm happy to say that in Codename Brunch, there will only be 1 keyboard because we fixed that problem. We're now down to 1.
But it's actually 3 keyboards.
It's a keyboard that mutates into other keyboards depending on it makes a disgusting noise. It's like
Could you call it a 3-board?
oh my god.
Probably not. That was bad.
Yeah, I prefer we not.
That was bad.
All right, next question comes from, I don't know, it says Charnoff, I think. Before summer ends, what's your favorite burger? Charnoff likes a thick slab of ground cow cooked over charcoal, then covered with pepper jack, cheese, bacon, lettuce, garden tomatoes, ketchup, and mustard on a pretzel bun.
So
That's not a burger, that's a salad.
my favorite burger that I've ever had is at the Post Sports Bar in Maplewood. They have what's called the Farm Burger. And it's just a beef patty with bacon, ham, and a fried egg on top.
Whoa.
And I always get it with Gouda cheese and just.
So it's the farm burger because they took every animal on the
Every
farm
animal.
and got it involved in this burger
Yep.
somehow.
And then they also have, I'm just going to plug this thing. They have these loaded tots. It's tater tots.
You do live at top.
Carol's eyelids just twitched.
Tater tots
loaded twat.
covered in
Carol's-
cheese and bacon and jalapenos. And I learned how to make them at home for myself because it's so goddamn good.
It seems like the
Are we-
dangerous thing to bring home. That's like learning how to cook meth. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like,
Well, it is my meth. I have had kitchen explosions because of these tater tots. Kitchen and other
do you wear a
rooms.
gas mask and a
Yeah.
full suit,
full hood.
full hood?
Hazmat.
You cook your tots in an RV out in the desert.
Adam, Seth,
man.
burger choices.
I mean, as long as it's got a runny egg on it,
Mhm.
I'm pretty solid on a burger.
We also went to the Post.
Yeah,
I had my favorite burger there as well.
which was just 2 burgers.
It was 2 half-pound patties with some bread around it.
Pretty good.
that
Like,
was literally all that was there.
the best one I had was actually up in our hometown of Grinnell. It's very random because I eat burgers all the time because I love them. So I feel like I've got a good sample. I've got a good
Got a good
set
burger
of data
palate.
points. Yeah. And went up there and had the burger from this place, and they put pulled pork and an egg on top of your
On
burger.
top of the burger. Oh my god.
That sounds
Wait,
really good.
and
you mean like under the bread or like on top?
under the bread.
Okay.
So like it's part of your burger
I was gonna say,
experience.
how do you eat it? How do you?
It was hard to eat, but it was probably the most delicious burger I've ever had in my life.
Well,
Is that mostly just because pulled pork is way better than a burger?
Probably.
yeah. I mean, the other day, Adam had a pulled pork
Oh, the
waffle
waffle.
sandwich Probably would have even been better with the egg on top.
Yeah.
Well, this reminds me of the episode way back when we were talking about the nacho burger gradient. And at what point of adding various miscellaneous things does it stop being a burger and start being some other thing?
like a
Nachos.
salad or nachos
Or a meat salad.
Yeah, well, I never get my.
What?
Well, there are like tuna salads. I never get my burgers with buns because
Right.
I can't eat gluten. So that,
Yeah.
what is that? What
But
does
I mean,
that
I
even mean?
think your
burger?
approach
Yeah.
is correct, which is of course to just take 2 steaks and then put the burger in between.
Yeah,
instead
absolutely.
Of buns. Yeah.
burger bun or steak,
Steak
buns.
burger. It's a steak burger in its truest form. 2
Yeah.
pieces of steak in a burger.
2 steaks, burger, cheese, maybe some
That'd be pretty
avocado.
good.
Who knows if we're feeling saucy?
I used to
Oh my
Mayonnaise.
God, yeah, avocado and a runny egg on top.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In between 2 steaks on top of a burger.
With just
Now
bacon
we're
grease
hungry.
drizzled over the top.
So I used to make batch meals every Sunday where I just make a ton of food and then eat it throughout the week. And the biggest one that I used to do was just burgers. And so I'd get 3 pounds, I think, of burger meat and then cut up a bunch of stuff, put a bunch of eggs in it and make this, mash of meat plus veggies plus everything else. And then the biggest thing I did was I took this sharp cheddar cheese block. And after I formed the burgers, then I would insert this cheddar cheese into the center of the burger patty and then you grill it. And then you have this molten core of cheese.
Yeah, I found mozzarella also works really well for that. Yeah, but there's one catch, which is if you're grilling over a flame, then that cheese emits a lot of grease, and your burgers will be on fire for most of the grilling process.
Also,
So you gotta
since-
like the char.
And cheese doesn't cool very fast. So if you bite into that thing and if you don't let it cool sufficiently, you're going to be in for a Bernie surprise.
Bernie.
They're all raining on your. They're raining on
Hashtag
your
feel
burger
burn.
parade.
I ate dozens of these things. I never had these problems you guys are speaking of. So
I'm just saying, just so our listeners are being
Oh
careful.
no, I didn't say having your burgers be on fire was a problem.
Yeah.
It's just a feature of the
fact.
cooking.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Anytime I grill burgers, I have to make sure my wife isn't around the grill area because she gets panicked
Because
the
there's fire
giant
starts shooting
flames
out.
Oh, no.
shooting out. Yeah. Is this a problem? I'm like, I'm just cooking.
Is that why you're bald?
Yeah. I cut it off. I hit it off at the pass. I just shave my hair. That way I can't singe it
Yeah.
when I'm grilling.
Yeah.
It's good.
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes from Staffstorm. Greetings from South Africa. Will you be uploading some more art tutorials to the tube? I find them to be very, very insightful and super awesome. Also, do you use a pen and tablet or do you stick with the old hand and mouse? So for art stuff, I stick with the hand and mouse, though I've been trying to figure out if I should get a pen and tablet at this
Or
point.
maybe switch to foot and mouse.
Or foot and mouth.
Yeah.
That's also a
Or
good one.
foot and
I'm good at
rat.
that one.
But this is a good question actually when it comes to just talking about streaming stuff in general. So one is that I would like to put more art stuff up on YouTube. It doesn't take that long for me to put together. It's just a matter of having a lot of art to do and being in the process of doing it. And since we've been mainly doing more businessy or sort of studio focused stuff in the last while, I haven't made that many things that are actually going to appear in anything, I guess, for sure. And so until that's the case, I haven't committed to actually doing that. But we have been trying to figure out exactly how to do something like Carol had been talking about, what do you call it, performative game dev?
Yeah, performative development.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, performative development was, I would say, kind of gained popularity a few years back. Vlambeer did it a lot with Nuclear Throne development, and William Cheer is right now doing it a lot with Manifold Garden. And essentially, it's just live streaming the development process. And while you do that, you talk about the game, you talk about design theories, things like that. And it's a really cool opportunity for non-developers to kind of get an idea of what's going on behind the scenes, and also for other game developers to get inspired and to learn and to kind of chat with you during the process and see the progress that it's making. And so that's something that we were kind of thinking about getting into. I know that the team you did the kind of 8-hour game dev streams and things like that. But on the larger scale, it would be really cool to see the process on a kind of a greater project.
Yeah, kind of the two big problems I know that we always keep us from doing it are that it's a very slow way to actually develop. So kind of the focus has to be on more of the talking to the community aspect, because it's impossible to seriously program while also talking to somebody about what you're doing.
Really
Right.
hard to do.
So, which is okay, because that could be a thing that's still fun to do and fun to
Programming
engage with.
requires some
It requires some
mental focus.
deep thought. But the other one is that is a timing issue, right? Because if we're at work
Mm-hmm.
at the same time everybody else is at work, then when do we stream so that people can actually watch it?
Yeah.
So those are kind of the two pieces that we just haven't quite. I mean, the one is just the first one's a hurdle to get us to actually do it, and the second one is just a practical problem of, well, then when,
Yeah, and I do think when we do game jams and stuff because there's a lot of game jams here in St. Louis, and if we do those over the weekends, and we actually streamed the last jam we did
mostly, but we had bad internet.
Oh no.
That's true. Yeah,
We streamed it the first night, I think.
we streamed "Do You Even Lift?"
Yeah.
development, which is pretty fun.
That was a good game.
It's a good one.
Yeah, but it's a cool opportunity to be able to connect with fans, and it's like I said, it's performative, so it's not
Yeah,
really
right.
a true look at the development process because
you also have to dance while you code.
you're putting on your big boa,
Yeah,
and your
because otherwise,
pom-poms.
who's gonna watch?
Yeah.
You got to dance, you got to sing.
Mhm.
It's very distracting.
Our next question comes again from Angry Muffin, and this is about Codename Brunch. But as we've talked about, we'll just call it the next game, vaguely.
That's the next game.
The next game. Will the next game be full of cross-platforminess like Crashlands? Will multiplayer be over Wi-Fi? Will it be a single-player game? Basically, just asking for a bunch of details about this thing. And we should talk about why maybe it's a bad idea for us to give details early on. Well, so think about this from a game development standpoint. So I think a lot of people saw this actually with No Man's Sky, which we talked about a few weeks ago on the podcast. And mainly that as a developer, there's a lot of things that you want to get in and that you can see being able to put into a game, and that you might even be able to see on a particular timeline being able to get into the game before it launches. But oftentimes your projections and estimates of these things are wrong, or you'll hit a point where design-wise it doesn't actually make sense to go in a particular.
And the earlier you are in development, the more way off you are.
Yeah. And so the truth is, like, when we start off with a game, particularly with the next game, if you think about the direction we could go in, it essentially is like a 360 degree. Like, it wouldn't be a cone at that point. It's a circle. It's a whole
360 degree rectangle.
Yes.
In every dimension.
What?
So
Even time.
So as we actually put more work into it and start stepping forward, then it kind of starts collapsing a lot of those potential possibilities. And so talking about stuff, it kind of puts you in a weird spot as a dev, because if you look at AAA studios, they oftentimes have a 6 to 2 year long hype train that they build up marketing wise.
You mean 6 months to 2 years?
Yeah, sorry, 6 months to 2 years. But if you're a smaller dev and your game takes, say, 6 months or a year to build, the question is, when do you start talking about it in such a way that you actually know what you're going to be doing with it, and so you don't, create this hype mismanagement problem?
Well, and yeah, because you're also less dependent on initial plans and then putting that out to a team of people who enact the plans, because you're planning as you're building, and so the thing changes frequently and rapidly.
Yeah, you should be reiterating as you're building as well.
Yep.
And that's something that we actually even see with a lot of the old Crashlands posts.
Mhm.
Crashlands changed, and we talk about this all the time, but Crashlands changed so much from the time we started first talking about it to the time it launched.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's, we're seeing that with a lot of other games, and we're feeling that now with the next game too.
Right. So I think it's a hard thing to talk about. There's things we want to do, which, like we said, we want to bring in some form of multiplayer stuff, not real time, more than likely, because that's hard. It's very hard to do. But we want to do something with it, and it'll be a fun, ridiculous game. That's pretty much all I could say.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason why anytime we talk about this stuff, we always start it with none of this will actually be in the game, right? Because you should expect that if we're in the prototyping stage of a game, we don't know whether or not we're always trying to do something new, right? And once we get more information about some new feature we want to try or whatever, there's a chance that the stuff we learn will make that infeasible, or it turns out it doesn't jive well with the mechanic that we had in mind, or there's an infinite number of reasons why it might be scrapped. So any talk we have now about what the next game is going to be, you should just expect that that's not going to be true.
It's kind of a time capsule of what we're doing now as opposed to what will be happening.
Or
in
even
the
just like
future.
what we're thinking.
Yeah.
'Cause we may not even be doing it yet. Right.
I mean, we pivot a lot here.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things that I really admire about the studio, but it also means it's really difficult to nail down announcement plans and hype trains and things like
As
that.
Carol has already experienced,
I have experienced.
several times.
Yeah. And of course, like once we're, 3 months into dev
Mhm.
on the next game,
Yep, it's clear.
chances are pretty good we're not going to pivot. We'll have a good sense of.
But still, a
what
lot
it
of
is.
things will change. I mean,
A lot of things will change, and of course we'll still couch every announcement with this is early development. comment, and we don't know. Right?
Probably we should just have sort of a standard short disclaimer that we put above every single blog post
Pre-launch
and that we
post.
say before we talk on other people's podcasts and all that kind of stuff, where we just recite the litany.
This is probably nonsense. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Nothing really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at today, folks. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Final question comes from Kaki-chan 2. So we got to get away from this. We got to go get this work done because clearly it's dragging us down. Which is more fun for you guys to yell? This is very important. Shiz or Shaz?
Shaz, because Shazbot.
Yeah, yelling and like that sound, you just can't get the volume.
Yeah. Plus, it sounds like you're yelling shit, and people are gonna be like, "Oh wow, he's swearing." And you're like, "Shiz."
Yeah,
And you can do a blood curdling scream with a Shaz.
yeah. There's a
Or a goat-like scream, depending on.
yeah. There's a reason why anytime you see, say, like in a comic or something, when somebody's screaming, it's always represented by a series of the letter A, right? Because that's a good.
Well, can you imagine someone
vowel.
screaming with an ooh?
Or like I like just all eyes.
All right. Certain vowels are not good for screaming. So yeah, I'm
is good, though.
I'm on the Shaz train.
Yeah, I'm riding the Shaz train also.
But there's another train, which wasn't even included, which is just the word shit.
That's mine.
The shit
I'm
train.
pretty sure you mean shit when you say either shiz or Shaz.
That's true. It's a euphemism.
Yeah. You might as well just say shit.
Yeah, not enough people use shat as the
And shat.
past tense of.
Oh,
shit.
wait.
I think it's because it's not even a swear word at that point.
It's,
No,
it's
just
now
a-
a thing that happened.
Just a verb.
Sean Connery saying sat.
Yeah,
shat.
I shat in the chair.
Shit, chat, shart. They're
All
my
right.
faves.
Well, that's all we got for Coffee with Butterscotch this week because we're all dying. So we're going to be at PAX and come see us if you're going to be there. We'll be hanging out from the Facebook event. You can find us on Butterscotch Shenanigans on Facebook.
You
And
can caress our wedges.
come look at the wedges that we made for you and grab a pin and a button and otherwise ask us some questions and we'll talk to you next week.
We'll be very friendly and happy, I promise.
Yep, totally.
Totally.
Ta-da.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.